I have a confession to make. I am maybe a little too obsessed with making boxes. 3D printed boxes, laser cut boxes, CNC cut boxes, boxes on the table saw, boxes with handles, boxes with tops, little boxes, big boxes, simple boxes, fancy boxes. I might have a problem. Today is an experiment. I'm going to make a couple of simple boxes on the laser cutter and try my hand at marquetry. That means wooden inlay. I'm going to try to make a layer of veneer to cover my simple box and inlay a design in it. I've never tried this before, so I'm not looking to make a finished product. I just want to give it a try and see what I can learn. To cut my wood veneer, I'm also going to use the laser cutter. I use a site called MakeCase to create the boxes. You plug in the dimensions, tweak the options, and export. After laser cutting the boxes, putting them together is very satisfying. With the laser cut shapes, things fit together pretty well without glue. So add a little glue on the seams and some tape for the corners, then you can let the glue dry. Now I'm going to cut the shapes from the veneer. I'm going to try several different experiments. The box is going to have a pretty basically designed outside with a fancy design on the top. Unsurprisingly, I'm a giant Lord of the Rings fan. I'm going to use a version of the White Tree of Gondor as my cover. This process was not easy and I learned quite a few lessons. First, laser cutting very tiny shapes out of veneer either requires very different laser settings than mine, or there's a limit on how small you can cut wood with a laser. Either way, I had both burning and breakage on the tiny parts. The next hard lesson is gluing with wood glue is hard because tiny stuff moves around. Gluing with super glue is easier, but tiny stuff then gets glued in the wrong spot or to your fingers. Also, veneer has a thickness that I did not take into account when I cut them out. I cut everything to the exact size of the box, but that meant there was a small gap on all the sides, or a bigger gap on two sides of every face of the box. Very annoying. Next time I'll try to add in the thickness of the veneer or leave it larger and trim it with a razor after the glue dries. The first box came out great. For the second box, the inlay of this dark veneer was too brittle and pretty much disintegrated when I started working with it. To save this box, I decided to experiment with combining UV resin with mica powder. I filled the tree and a few of the corner gaps with the resin. For the bottom of the second box, I tried just black resin. I decided for the inside of both boxes, I would make a simple 3D print to finish it off. I'm not sure what I'll do with these. I guess I do have this one ring I could store in one of the boxes. Anybody want a pretty box?